Welcome to A Shot of Ag. My name is Rob Sharkey. I'm a fifth-generation farmer from just outside of Bradford. I'm gonna have to move this. I'm just gonna have to. I'm just gonna have to move that. They're beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
They're gorgeous, and you grew all those.
I grew all of those.
Because there's like a whole bunch of different types in there.
There are.
And there's
yes,
some like.
a good variety.
Is that like a lamb's quarter?
I try not to use weeds in my arrangements. That's actually basil.
This is?
Yeah, that's lemon basil.
So I can put that on my pizza?
If you want. Yeah.
Today we're talking with Taylor Meintz
Yep.
from Geneseo, Illinois. Mm-hmm. Now tell people where Geneseo's from, because we're in Peoria.
So Geneseo is east of the Quad Cities, about 20, 30 miles maybe.
It's right on 80.
Right off I-80.
Yeah. It has a Walmart.
It does have a Walmart. We
Yeah.
have a couple Casey's, which is pretty exciting.
You got dollar stores.
We have $2 stores. We have the Dollar General
You got a farm
and
in
a
Fleet,
Dollar Tree.
right?
We have a farm in Fleet.
Or is it a farm kid? Whatever.
No, yeah, it's Blaine.
It's not that big of a town. How come you get all that stuff?
I don't know.
Is it because you're on 80?
It could be. It could be.
You have to write a letter or
Yeah.
something. Are you originally from Geneseo?
No, I grew up in West Michigan, kind of Grand Rapids area.
Okay. And how do you get from Michigan to Geneseo?
So I went to Michigan State for crop and soil sciences. And from there, my first job was with DeKalb, and they moved me to Southwest Iowa. And so that brought me to kind of this region of the country. And yeah, from there we ended up in Geneseo.
Why did you go into crop sciences? I mean, did you grow up on a farm?
So my dad was an agronomist.
Yeah.
He was the agronomy manager at our local co-op for like 35 or 40 years. And when I was in high school, I worked for him as a crop scout and doing soil sampling.
Was that your choice, or was it?
I loved it.
Really?
I really loved it. That's what led me to go on to pursue a degree in crop and soils.
So you did soil samples? Can you explain, because not everybody knows that process?
Yeah.
What did you do?
So I would go out on a four-wheeler,
Yeah.
and you have the soil probe, and this was kind of before the grid sampling was really big, so I didn't do the
Okay.
grid sampling. I would, but there's still kind of a pattern you follow as you go through the field, and you want to collect samples throughout the field, and you put it in a little baggie and ship it off to the lab, and then it gives you back your soil analysis.
No, was this the hand probe?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's like a T handle,
Yeah.
and you shove it down. Sometimes it's not so easy.
No, sometimes it's very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard to get it in the soil, and then it's funny. It gives me memories of like when the soil was really hard or clay, and I just have to like bang that soil probe against the bucket to get out of the probe. But anyway, so some fields were easier than others, but really West Michigan's a very sandy area.
Yeah.
So, but then there's clay pockets, so kind of a variety of everything. But yeah, that's how I kind of got into pursuing a degree and career in agronomy.
But you enjoyed that.
I loved it.
Okay.
I really, the soil sampling was okay, but I loved the crop scouting. And when I was in college, so West Michigan, there's a lot of dairy farms, so it was mainly corn, soybeans, alfalfa, and wheat fields. But then while I was at Michigan State, during the summers, I had a couple different internships on the west side and going into the northwest side of Michigan, where they grow a lot of fruits and vegetables. So I spent a couple summers as a crop scout doing more specialty crops, like cherries and apples and asparagus and
Not just corn
carrots.
and soybeans.
So, but anyways, so after I got my degree, I still really enjoyed the row crops, and so I took that job with DeKalb and moved out to Iowa.
Which I think that's how a lot of people start out, being like agronomists at, doing those soil samples.
Yeah.
We used to work with a company up in Canada called Farmer's Edge.
Okay.
And we went on a social media tour, and they wanted to show sampling. They did it with the trucks. You know, that
Yep.
you drove around the truck, and
Yeah.
then the probe went down. It was negative 40. Negative 40 degrees. And they're like,
Sounds
we're going to
terrible.
go soil sampling. I'm like, you're insane.
Yeah.
But they went out there, and the hydraulic
It was a
pushed
little more,
it down.
yeah.
Because literally the truck came up, and then all of a sudden we went down.
That's nuts.
And then that thing got stuck in there. And we're
Yeah.
out in the middle of a field. It's negative 40. We all have to get out and unhook this probe. And somewhere in Manitoba,
Oh my
there's still a
gosh.
soil probe.
That's insane. I would go out in the winter if there was good enough snow cover, because then the ground's insulated.
Oh,
And
I hadn't thought about that.
yeah.
This was not the case here.
no,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like it.
Negative 40 is, ugh,
That's pretty cold.
it's a bad memory.
That
I'd like
is.
to move on. Where'd you meet your husband?
When I was again with DeKalb in Southwest Iowa, one of the guys I called on at a co-op with DeKalb, he was friends with my husband, and he introduced us. Yeah,
So did he have any ag background?
My husband, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep, his family farms, and he is currently a sales manager for a ag input company based out of North Central Iowa called Titan Pro,
Okay.
which actually his family owns.
Oh,
He owns with his dad and his brothers.
well, so he has to work there.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was, at the time when I met him, he was going to Northwest Missouri State for ag business. And, yeah, we kind of hit it off right away, and
Love at first sight.
it honestly was.
Would he say the same thing?
I think so.
He better.
He better.
You got
Yeah.
4 kids?
4 kids.
How old?
The oldest is 9, and then we have 8, 7, and 5. Yeah.
How did you even get a chance to come here today?
It's a small miracle, really. Yeah.
Did you just turn the TV on and run?
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
Yep. No, they're taken care of.
Yeah. You're tall.
Yes, I'm 6 foot tall.
Is your husband tall?
He is. I think he's 6'7".
Is your kids?
They are very tall for their age.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're about 2 years older than what they actually are.
If
So-
your husband's 6'7"
Yeah.
and you're 6,
Yeah,
you could have a 7-footer.
we could.
I don't know how you do the math.
I don't really know either, but
Yeah.
they're tall. They're always in the back row for, school performances. And
Did you play sports?
I played basketball
Shocker.
in high school, nothing in college. I
Yeah.
enjoy tennis just as a hobby.
Okay. All right. So tell me how the flowers got started.
Okay, so I guess I'll start with once we decided to start our family, Justin and I decided to become a full-time stay-at-home mom after our second child was born. And so I did the full-time stay-at-home mom thing for a few years, and then
It's just a lot of work.
it is a lot of work.
Remember, my wife, she'd just be running constantly.
It's a lot of work, especially because we had our kids so close together. And so there was a time where we had 3 kids in diapers.
Well, I
And
mean, that's on you.
no, it was. Yeah. We decided once we started a family,
might
we
as well
just
just
might
keep
as well. Yeah. Which is great now because, next week they're all going to school. My youngest is going to kindergarten. And
Oh, so
so, yeah.
you'll have an empty house.
I will.
For a few precious,
Yes.
precious hours.
Yeah. So, anyways, I had stayed home for a while, and eventually the desire kind of crept up to do something a little bit more for myself. And so up in Geneseo, we live on about 4.5 acres. And so when we moved there, I always kind of knew that we wanted to do something with that acreage that we had.
You wanted to grow marijuana.
Well,
Then they legalized it, and the money's out of
that's
it.
actually one that I never looked into. But
Oh.
I did think about other things. I did look into like maybe doing vegetables, a
Yeah.
vegetable CSA or something like that, or maybe like a U-pick berry patch or something. But I eventually landed on flowers. They seemed different and unique. Nobody in our area was doing it.
They smell wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. So I kind of landed on the idea of flowers and spent the next year really just researching and reading and trying to absorb everything I could and learn as much as I could. And then in 2020 is when I started the flower farm.
Okay, but you had an agronomy background,
Yes.
right? So
Yep.
you know dirt, you know
Yeah,
plants
so
and
I know
that.
how to grow things.
But
yeah.
I mean, like I said, this is not just one flower. This is a whole bunch of
Yeah,
stuff.
it's a lot. And I had never, so yes, I have the agronomy background, but I had never grown a cut flower in
Yeah.
my life before 2020.
And that's what these are called, cut
Yep,
flowers.
cut flowers. So what makes a cut flower is,
Cut ya.
so cut flowers are different than flowers that you would find at like a local nursery that you're going to put in your landscaping.
Oh.
Because cut flowers are bred to have long stem length. That's one of the things that makes a cut flower, and excellent vase life. So
Face life.
yeah. Well, you want your flowers to last
Yeah. Oh,
in
yeah.
a vase.
Now, are these all annuals?
Yes, in that vase, they are mostly all annuals.
So you're putting those in every year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I start all the seeds by hand in the winter, and then in the spring, when it's safe to plant them out, then I'm down on my hands and knees planting them in the ground, thousands and thousands of seedlings.
Yeah.
So really, I plant them all twice. Once when you start the seed, and then again. But I don't grow all annuals. I grow a variety of bulbs, tubers, annuals, and perennials.
Okay. And then who buys them?
So I sell them all locally around the Geneseo community into the Quad Cities area. And how I sell the majority of my flowers are through bouquet subscriptions.
Okay. I don't know what that is.
So it's a one-time purchase, and you buy all of your bouquets for the season. And I offer
What's a season?
well, my flower season.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. That's why I ask questions.
So I offer a spring subscription, which are tulips and
Yeah.
peonies. And then during the summer, I have a weekly or biweekly subscription. So you can choose to get a bouquet every week or every other week.
Yeah.
And like this morning before I came here, I set out all the bouquets we've got bouquet pickup today. So I don't deliver them. People come.
You couldn't.
I couldn't, especially with the 4 kids and
Yeah.
managing and growing the flower farm. It's too much work. So I have 3 pickup locations. One you can pick up at the flower farm, or I've got a pickup location in Davenport, and then another one in Geneseo.
Oh, really?
At a local shop. So you pick the frequency that you want your subscription bouquet and where you want to pick it up, and then like our weekly subscribers, they know every Wednesday from 10 to 6 p.m. They can come get a bouquet with their name on it at our flower stand.
Genius.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the women. This would be genius for a
Oh, yeah.
husband to do.
Yes. I sell a lot of them as gifts. So they go on sale in the fall, and a lot of people buy them as Christmas gifts.
It's a gift that keeps giving.
It is.
Yeah.
It's great for, that person who it's hard to buy for.
Well,
or
that's the
have
thing.
it all.
I mean, with flowers, right? It's a thought that counts.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't think of it. That's why you never
Yeah.
buy it. This
Yep.
way, you're kind of forced to. So even though you bring one home every week, and the wife's like, "Oh, he didn't really think about it. He had to." She can't be mad because she says, "Oh my gosh, I got flowers."
Yep. Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah. It works well
Genius.
for my customers and for me.
How many are men?
None. I don't think I have any. I mean, I have a lot of men who buy them for their
Yeah.
wives, like you're saying, but I don't think I have. I don't know. I don't think I have any guys
Really?
who like come in who bought it for themselves, I would say.
But honestly, you're from Geneseo, and they're a little slow up there. They can't get
Hey.
this station. It's fine.
Come on. So no, the subscriptions are pretty slick because I know exactly how many bouquets I need to make each week, and none of them go to waste unless somebody forgets to pick it up or something. But when I first started, I had a flower stand, and this was before I had the subscriptions, and I would just kind of put out there on social media. I have bouquets in the stand today, and we would sell out so fast, which, is a great thing. But a lot of the customers would come too late and they would miss out. And so now, there's no missing out on the bouquets. There's one already made and reserved for you on a certain day each week, and you don't have to race to get there to get one on time.
So they show up to your place. Do they know where to go to pick
Yep.
this up?
Yep. So
That way you don't have to man like a booth.
yeah, it's all self-serve. They come in, we've got a little flower stand set up, and they come in, check their name off, get their bouquet. It's,
Yeah. How do they
it works
taste?
pretty good. I don't know.
You've never tried to eat one?
I haven't. You can
Like a petal?
I don't know. I don't know how it would taste. I don't advertise them as edible flowers, but
It tastes unfortunate.
yeah. The basil might taste a little better, actually.
I think I'm done with that
Yeah.
joke now.
Okay.
They look beautiful.
Thank you. So what you just tried was one of the Lisianthus, which most people have never heard of Lisianthus.
That's a white one.
That's
yeah.
the white one, and also these kind of pinkish purple ones in the front. They come in different colors, but
Do
they're
you know that when you're planting them, what color they're going to come out in?
yeah. I order a certain variety, certain color
Oh,
when
is this
I'm
a
when I'm
Snapdragon?
That is.
This was my favorite one as a kid.
Yes, I
think
know, because you can make them talk. Yeah, here. So let me see if I can get it. So you go like this. Oh, now this one's not going to do it for me. I can't find one.
Is it your flower deflector?
I don't know why they're not going. Usually you squeeze them there and they open up and like they're going to talk. Yeah, this one must be defective.
Huh. Now, what if I had a subscription? Would I get my money back?
I don't know. My boys like to go out and make all the snapdragons
Yeah.
talk, though.
I think it was just because of the name. As a kid, I always
Yeah.
wanted. Yeah, I thought they were the cool ones.
Yep.
Anyway, are your kids involved? Do they help?
They do. Some days are better than others, but that's one of the things with the flower business is I wanted it to be something that I could do with the kids, and I can stay home and still have this business, which is great. But I have the kids out pulling weeds and washing buckets and stripping leaves is a big job for them. So when I cut the flowers, all the leaves need to be stripped. So that's a good job
Okay.
that they do.
I hate this word.
Peony?
Why can't, just pennies? That's how I always thought as a
Pennies?
kid. It was just pennies. but
Or if you're in the South, I think they pronounce it peony.
actually, that's better. Say it again.
Peony?
It's the dumbest. I don't know who came up with that name. But you plant 1,500 of them?
Yeah. It's a lot.
What's the most popular flower?
I would say the peonies and the dahlias. And the tulips, because they're the first one in the spring. But the peonies and the dahlias, they're so loved by people. Because,
I would have thought the
because they're
roses.
so beautiful. Well, that's not a rose, it's a Lisianthus.
It's a rose by any other name.
It looks like a rose. Most people think they're roses, but they're actually better. They have a 2-week vase life.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Really?
They're my longest lasting flower.
Do you have that stuff you pour in the vase? I always
Yeah.
think that's crap.
I don't use it a lot, but if I'm cutting a bucket of something and we have a walk-in cooler and I know I need to hold it in the cooler for like a week, I'll put like a floral hydrator in it. But most everything we grow and cut is cut and in the customer's hands within 24 to 48 hours. So it's very fresh. Like all these flowers were cut yesterday.
So did this kind of start off like a side gig, and has it turned into a business?
No, when I started, I knew I wanted it to be a business rather than a hobby. That was kind of important to me when I started. Was I just kind of jumped in with both feet. Yeah.
What'd you say, 4 acres?
Yeah, we have about 4 acres, but not 4 acres of actual flower production. We probably have about.
That would be a lot.
It would be a lot because it's all manual labor.
Yeah.
behind where we grow the flowers, there's a cornfield. And
Oh.
when I see them out planting and spraying and harvesting, I'm kind of envious because they have, this big machinery that they'll be out harvesting the corn, and
It's very nice. And it's air
Yes.
conditioned.
Yeah,
and it has
it's air
Bluetooth.
conditioned.
It has a little refrigerator under the buddy seat.
So they'll be out, combining, and then I'm bending over in my flower field, cutting every stem by hand, so it is a lot of labor.
These are really sensitive to herbicides, right?
Yeah,
Have you had any problem with that?
not too much. We know the farmer who farms right behind us, and they're very careful
Yeah.
with how they spray. They kind of stopped growing soybeans since I started the flowers, which I
Yes.
appreciate.
Yeah, that would be the one I would
Yeah.
really worry about because, like you said, there's a lot invested in a small area here. That,
Yeah.
that would have to be devastating. I mean, because with this, I can insure my crops.
Yep.
You can't insure this, correct?
No, I've looked into it, and it's nobody knows quite how to do that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit trickier.
So if a hailstorm comes along,
Yeah,
that's it,
I'm
huh?
kind of screwed.
Yeah. I don't think we can say that. You can say that whatever
edit that
PBS is
out?
in Geneseo, they can say it there. You potty mouth. You bought an RV.
We did.
Is that the plan? You're just going to go
Well,
around the country?
a couple years ago, so we actually bought this RV for my brother, and he let us borrow it a couple years ago, and we absolutely loved the trip we
Really?
went on.
Is it a pull behind or?
No, it's a Class A.
Oh,
the-
so that would be nice. I always thought because the driver wouldn't be separate.
Yeah.
They could be back
Right.
screwing around and whatever. You're supposed to be buckled in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that ain't gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah, so when we did this trip a couple years ago, we went out to Arizona and did the Grand Canyon, and we just had such a great time. And the thing that's really nice about the Class A RV that you're all in is we don't have to stop for bathroom breaks
Although you
all
want
the time.
to.
I can make a pot of coffee. I can get the kids lunch while we're going down the road.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Or you can lock them in the bathroom when they're getting too loud.
Well, yeah.
Maybe you could put dirt on the top of it and have like a mobile flower.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work.
All right. Where are you on social media where people can find you?
So I'm on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
Taylor & Co. Fresh Cut Flowers, and I'm on Instagram, Taylor & Co. .flowers, I think is what it is.
Taylor, and you've got a whole co behind you.
Yeah, so the Co is Justin and the kids. They're the
Oh, is that-
they're
that's the Co?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think it's really cool
Thanks.
because a lot of times when a spouse gets on a place and you struggle to find what you want to do.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've kind of gotten into something that you really enjoy.
I do enjoy it. It's beautiful. I feel really blessed to go out each morning and work with these gorgeous flowers, and
Yeah.
the customers are always happy, which
How could you
is
not be?
wonderful.
Until you try to eat it.
Yeah, and so I'll also do events out at our place where a group of ladies come
Oh, yeah.
and arrange the flowers. And, I used to do these field days, plot tours and things, which I also loved. But so it's kind of similar to that, but everybody's really happy
What about like
to be
just
there.
come to do the Instagram stories and that? Do you have people that want to do that?
What's that?
Come out and take pictures and for social media. and
We're
stuff.
not really open to the public in that way, but if you come for a private workshop, is what I call them, where you come and make your own arrangement.
You'll let them do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Then
I
they
wouldn't
can.
want- yeah, people just. Is this like where people can stop on the road and just walk there, or are you kind of like?
Not
behind
really.
it?
It's
Okay.
kind of like behind our house. We have got a pole barn, and it's kind of like
Well, that's
yeah,
nice.
it's private property.
Yeah. You put the bear traps away.
So yeah.
Well, I love it. I love that you have found something that you really enjoy,
Thanks.
and you're bringing joy to other people.
Exactly.
And I think you could probably save marriages if you
Yeah.
have dudes sign up for this. It's a hint
That's
for
right.
you young men out there. Taylor, I really appreciate you taking the time to
Yeah,
come and talk to
thank
us.
you.
Really appreciate it. Everybody go check her out, and we'll catch you next week.